good. You're good. How's it going? How's life?
Good. Yes, good.
Good.
We're just figuring out dinner for myself and my partner,
Yeah.
and kids have had dinner. They're in bed. I can hear my daughter having conversations, even though she's supposed to be in bed right now. But
How old is your daughter?
she's 11.
Awesome. Mine's
Yeah.
7. And the same,
Okay.
same, like just singing, making up stories, whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, I have a 7-year-old as well.
Oh,
So I have a girl and a boy. What's your world like there?
it's good. Yeah, I don't know. It's a magical like I don't know. I like had a really hard time with the infant stage, and it's getting into this sort of little kid area that I'm like, okay, this is
Yes,
awesome. Every
this
day is
is
magical
awesome.
and
I
I'm having so much
know.
fun. Yes.
I was
So,
thinking that I kind of think that almost every day because my son, he's, 7-year-olds, they just really start to get
yeah.
into their own and their interests and
Yes.
figuring out who they are.
Mhm.
Yeah. See, for
Yeah.
me, infant stage was not bad. It was the toddler stage for me.
Oh, okay.
And I think it
Every
was just
day
because
got
I was a
better,
wild
but yeah.
toddler.
You
So,
were as well. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
What
So,
did the parents say? You're just you're getting paybacks for what I had to go through or something. Like, well, thanks, mom.
exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, it's been fun though. She had a choir concert tonight, first ever, and I wasn't really sure if she would take to music. My husband is not musical, and so it was like kind of like, will she or won't she? And she absolutely is. And so it's been really fun to kind of discover about her and for her to discover about herself.
Yeah.
Because mommy works in music, but what does that mean? What does that mean for her? So it's fun.
Exactly.
I've been trying to give
Yeah.
her her space, let her discover things. She'll play on my piano and stuff and synthesizer,
Yeah.
and I try not to get too involved. But hopefully
Yeah.
it'll feed her the way it feeds me, which is really the point. So,
Yes.
but
Yeah, I feel the same. I feel similar in the things that I do.
yeah,
Um, Even, my son, he's very musical. He likes to make up songs and
so
just
cool.
theatrical,
Hmm.
I'm pretty silly at home. So
Good,
yeah, and then my daughter, she likes drama and acting and stuff like that. And
awesome.
it's cool to see that, because you're just like, well, I guess and it also makes you realize how much of an influence you have. So if that's
Mm.
influencing, I'm like, oh God, what else am
Ah,
I?
no, right, right. Oh, it's terrifying.
So I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I just have to cancel. My phone is telling me it's bedtime actually right now.
Yes, I have alarms going off too. All of mine are done, but it's the same situation. Like we didn't eat dinner. Like we made sure she got what she needed, and yeah,
Yeah.
we'll handle everything ourselves later. We're gonna go and watch our shows. We caught up on Last of Us. We're watching Lockwood and Co. If you ever heard of that one, it's on Netflix.
No.
Kind of a ghost story universe. It's wonderful. And
Okay.
I forget what else we're all watching. I don't know. Mandalorian probably. So
I want to pick that up. And by the way, we're recording because I just start
yeah, please.
because
No,
that's
it tells me. Yeah, you're good. You're good.
okay.
Yeah,
I
all
don't
good.
know like if it, but and I'm really bad at this is the funny thing, like setting all this up. Like I'm just not good at it
That's
all.
okay. I am that awkward person that's got like because I live stream. So all of this stuff has been upgraded over time and like I've got all this fancy gear, which makes me feel so naked when I go out and I'm in public like and it's just me and my guitar and the sound system in the house, which we brought all this stuff recently to a different show at the same place. Like we brought my whole computer, the whole setup so that we could also live stream it and kind of kill two birds with one stone because again, as a live stream, not again, but as a live streamer, if you don't stream, you don't make money that day. So we're just like if I'm going to be playing these more shows out in public, then maybe we can fuse the two and do a good job. But it was an absolute disaster, and it didn't work out the first time. We got it the second time. But anyway, as I was saying, like all this, like I've got effects. You mean it's
Oh
bananas,
my God,
and
that is
yeah,
so cool. I love it.
I can double my voice. It's fun. This is
I
fun stuff.
love that. Oh
Yeah.
my God. You have to say something really scary right now so my mom gets freaked out at this part.
Just be calm. I'm only here for an hour. Try to go to sleep. Good
Yeah.
night.
Oh
There's some
my
freaky
God.
ones too. Yeah, it's been really fun, like getting into this stuff and exploring. But I also feel like I'm never gonna master any of this stuff. There's too much of it. It's crazy.
You know, it's like 10,000 hours or whatever. Like, you know,
Yeah.
5 minutes, it all adds up over time, and then
Over
you've learned
time.
something.
Yes.
You know, it's like, so
it's weird to look back at the streaming world, and like when I first started, I was like a 4-chord person, 5-chord person maybe. And now I've written these, what I'm very proud of myself. I've written some more prettier guitar parts, and I'm nowhere near like, obviously there's guitar players everywhere, and they're all, I feel like all of them are so amazing. And I keep saying, no, I'm just kind of a beginner, but I had to, somebody stop me and said, remember, this is you at the beginning. Let's show you the difference. And this is you now. And like, oh my gosh, you're right. After so many hours, it really does
it
make a difference.
adds up.
Just keep going. It's kind of the sentiment. But anyway.
No, it all adds up. And but speaking of just guitar and you, like that's how I first laid eyes on you. And it's just Joliet, right?
Yeah, Joliet4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I was pronouncing it correctly.
Yes, yes. I don't mind putting flair on it, but yeah, it's like Juliet, but with an O. And then that's a city in Illinois, so I threw a number behind it so it could be searched. And
okay. I like that. Okay. Yeah. I did not know that was a city. Are you from Kansas or?
I'm from Missouri originally. I grew up in Independence, as a matter of fact. But I've been all over. Hubby was in the military, so we lived overseas for a while. Omaha, Warrensburg, San Antonio, and I'm recently back in town from our stint in San Antonio for a while. So yeah, it's been a cool journey, but originally
I used to be in Kansas. I'm sorry, that's still in my brain. I just moved to Missouri in June. So
yeah, I don't, I like both places. Yeah, technically I was on the Missouri side. Yeah, though. Yeah,
they're so different though. I mean,
like, the animosity is palpable.
It's crazy. It's weird.
Yeah, it is weird, but
I saw you at PH Coffee, and I loved your music. I loved the whole night, honestly. It was just such a great night. But then you were just like one of the highlights of my personal evening. I'm sure everybody, but
that means a lot. You were a highlight of mine. I still need your poem, like stitch, please. Cross stitch, please. Sorry, my wall. Can I order that on Etsy? Like, it's brilliant. So
yeah, I'll have to figure out, like, there's got to be some sort of pre-made cross stitch.
Oh yeah,
like that. I can just say, I want this on it. Send me
exactly. Yes, and take pre-orders because I'm for sure. That's super
Give it
cute.
to your partner and see how.
I will. Happy Valentine's Day. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah. So where I just tell me. So you're from Independence, and you. So that's interesting. So. Because you just, I don't know, I guess in my brain, I thought you were from somewhere else because just you have this aura about you. So
I'm from the internet. No,
you're from the internet. I know. Aren't we all?
We all right anymore. I know.
Especially if I'm 36 and like, I don't know, the internet. I remember when I didn't have it.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah,
but I don't. I like the internet. I guess is what I'm saying.
It's so
I love
useful.
Yeah, and I'm just a curious person, so I loved going like the early stages, going on AOL, and having Yahoo. I remember the first avatars that like Yahoo came out with, and I was always.
How cute is that? Yes. Like what was that? Was it Napster? Like downloading music?
Yeah, LimeWire.
And then you have these like MP3s with like weird fragments of like, I think I had one of 1 Week by the Bare Naked Ladies, and there was someone's door, that sound on AOL Instant Messenger with the door shutting when someone signs off was in the middle of that track. I was like,
oh my gosh,
that's what I get.
Yeah.
Cha-chunk, like it's in the middle of my MP3. But anyway, it's been so useful, and I like to learn too. I'm curious, and I like just being able to Google whatever I want and like expanding my knowledge and learning, and it's so important these days. Like,
yes, Yeah.
Although I would, obviously there's the arguments about what it's doing to our mental health, and
Yeah.
I really admire Gen Z that are going to the flip phones or the old T9 like texting for their mental health. I hope it sticks on some level, but just kind of having boundaries and restrictions. Learn from us who are addicted.
Yes.
We have
Yeah.
actual problems now.
I
Yeah.
do put timers on my apps, and
Oh, good.
I've made this weird shift in my life where I don't really post pictures of my kids anymore. Like I took a lot
Mm,
of mine down.
I don't. Yeah.
Um,
I'll do like the 24-hour thing. And if you see it
yeah,
then and you
a
grab a
story. Yeah,
screenshot,
I'll
you're a
do that.
weirdo.
But
No,
like, yeah,
but yeah.
exactly. I know he's like, you can't help to
You
that,
never
but
know.
you don't. You
Yeah.
just don't. But anyways, yeah. So now I try to like post and goes. I'm really bad at it though. Like I try to just like try to share what it is I'm doing and
Yeah.
then move on and hope,
Mhm.
I use Insight Timer quite a bit. It's this like meditation app,
Oh,
and I'll post quotes from there. It's something else I do just because I don't know. You never know.
sure.
Sometimes I
Yeah.
see a quote, I'm like, oh, that's great to see,
Me too.
So
Sometimes it really matters. Like, just you never know too. Like that somebody's mental health for that day might really be
mhm,
benefited by that. And if it helped you, then put it back out there. So I agree
yes.
with that.
But
But I
well, I
agree
want
with
to
the
go back
kid
to
thing
you
too.
as well,
Oh,
though.
sure. Okay.
So independence. So I guess I'll ask this question first just to kind of start and then you can leave from there. I ask everybody this because I'm just always curious. A lot of people ask, what did you want to do when you were a little kid, like those,
Yeah.
those toddler years, those elementary years. And I'm actually curious, what did you want to do when you were in adolescence? So like 11, like those adolescent years, like what was Juliet wanting to do then?
Right, that's a really good question. I had a really sort of complicated childhood. My parents had a lot of problems and married and divorced each other more than once. And I grew up in Nashville. My dad was a professional songwriter down there for the Christian music industry, actually. I don't know if you can see, I know it's a podcast, but these are his gold record, like his
Oh,
gold record on my
cool.
wall. And
Okay. I
I had to
probably have sung those songs in the church that I grew up in.
Perhaps you have. It's weird, like being on the internet, and I can't like say who he is or anything because I feel like I need to protect my identity to a degree.
Mhm.
But at any rate, like that's the world I grew up in. I sang on Little Kid. It wasn't Kids Bop back then, but it was like the equivalent for Christian music, kids music. So I sang in the recording studio at a very young age. So I always wanted to be a singer. And like for a long time in adolescence, I wanted to be on Broadway. I wanted to be an actress. It was my dream to play Eponine in Les Miserables. But anyway, I couldn't dance, so I couldn't move on. I couldn't move on in that world. And I just decided like back when like all the reality shows started like spinning up like American Idol and The Voice, I tried
Mhm.
out for several of those and didn't really make it ever anywhere. Like I didn't get past that first stage or anything. And I really felt like God was telling me to be a worship pastor instead. My dad was a songwriter first, and then we moved to Kansas City, and he became a worship pastor, and he did that for 13 years. And so I thought, okay, this is clearly the calling on my life is to do music just for the Lord and for the church. So that's kind of my history. And then, yeah, things changed a little bit after that, but that's definitely, I've always wanted to be a singer.
Okay.
So that worked
Yeah.
out because I'm doing it. I'm so proud of myself. But yeah, that's hard
That's
to say.
one of the things that asking that question, I'm starting to see a pattern that
Yeah.
those years, like when you're younger, you want to be I mean,
Astronaut
that's
or
those
yeah.
are, yeah,
Yeah. A
like
zookeeper.
they're like archetypes,
Yeah.
it's an archetype. But then when you move into adolescence, you really get very inward and so you can't help it.
Yeah. Well, it's like we're talking about with our kids, like 7, they're starting to discover who
Mhm.
they are and what they want to be.
Mhm.
And like, I would still say it's too soon to call it at that age, but
Yeah.
for my kid anyway. But yeah, it's neat to watch their gifts. So they start to realize their gift or what interests them. And when they get on YouTube like my daughter, when you get on YouTube in the morning, what's the first thing you want to see when you're waking up and getting ready for school? And besides Minecraft and Roblox videos, it is like art for her and music. So yeah.
Yeah. She's into a lot of we're watching Outer Banks, by the way. That's what we're watching. So
Outer Banks, I haven't heard of that one. Okay.
Yeah, it's a little like, but I mean, we've watched Stranger Things, and I've had all the conversations with her. So at this
my
point,
kid's obsessed with Wednesday, and I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna look at all the bad guys, so that you know, and we're gonna talk about why she's such a jerk up until whatever. I don't know if you've seen it, but
yes, we
anyway.
binged that for like that was our show for sure.
But yeah,
okay,
I get
so past adolescence, you continued doing that. When was there ever a point, so you did it for the church for quite some time, and then I guess when did that shift for you?
So I was in my dad passed away before any of this could really like spin into much, and my younger brother and I started a worship band, and we served youth groups mostly. We were affiliated with a base church here in Kansas City area, but we did a lot of like Disciple Now weekends, if you're familiar with any of those, like out at other churches. Our specialty was tiny little places in the middle of nowhere in the countryside that couldn't afford huge like circus acts to come through, like the big like billing names, and we loved it. We were youth mentors, and that really lit my heart up and made me happy. And anyway, we did that for like 8 years, and everyone grew up, and eventually everybody got married and started having kids. And so we shifted, and my hubby and I ended up moving to Texas. And so that was a natural sort of end to the group. And I went through major postpartum depression. When we moved, I got pregnant. Hubby got laid off from that job we moved to Texas for. And I was like this weird mix of like happy pregnant, like those pregnant emotions, or hormones, pregnant hormone, happy pregnant hormones. And we were watching movies all day and like eating and walking and going to the park because he had all the time in the world, obviously, outside of like applying for jobs. But it was also like the most hellish stressful, like knowing in the back of my mind, right, we're not gonna be able to pay for this baby soon. He luckily did get a job. I was 2 weeks away from delivery, and so I had to switch. We moved it was Fort Worth. We moved from Fort Worth to San Antonio, and that's like a 6-hour difference. I had to switch OBGs at the last minute. We had no family, no friends. He started a new job and didn't just have built-in maternity leave, and so it was absolutely awful circumstances. So I don't know why. I thought I was prepared. You always do. You always think what's coming but I went from this place of like, I was running this band and lead singer, and I really had this sense of like, I guess an authority position, and I was boss lady. I was a boss. Okay. And to having like no identity outside of mom. And that really hit me in a way I didn't realize it would. I thought I could do all the things. And I just felt like God was telling me to slow down, and you can't carry all of this at one time. And I was trying anyway. And I got a direct, what I felt like I was lying on the floor. I slept on the floor next to her crib for 9 months because I don't know. I was really worried about her. Like, I'm telling you, infancy was really hard. And anyway,
my daughter, I definitely did that. I definitely
for your first.
My son didn't have that. He kept me up. So I was worried if he was okay or not, because I knew he was
fine, right?
She slept through the night at 5 weeks though.
Oh my gosh, crap.
It freaked me out. So
you stayed on hand, available. I didn't trust the monitor, like nothing. I was like, no, I'm just gonna be in here. And she got sick so much, and it was a tough infancy. Anyway, and it was my sort of introduction into what this world was like. So anyway, the whole point is like I had like an identity that was one thing, and I had completely transformed into something else, and I wasn't ready for that change and what that did to my mental state. So under knowing that, I felt like God was telling me, you need to close the door on the music chapter. And I knew it was related to being a worship leader. And that really bothered me, and I didn't really understand like why. And so I went through this sort of like resentment and anger. And look, this could have all been a total misunderstanding. I was in a weird mental place, but that's what happens. Like sometimes you just go through that stuff.
And there's grief. That's grief.
Yes,
grief is real, and it comes in many different forms and for many different scenarios. So.
Yes. And so that was all sort of laying on me and piling on me, and so I just went through massive depression, and my mom finally showed up and just kind of moved in. She's like, this isn't safe. This isn't good. This isn't normal. Like this is extra more awful than normal, like postpartum. So I went to a psychiatrist. I got on medication, and I finally left the house. Like this is one of those things, like we found a church, and I immediately wanted to join the worship team, even though I knew that God told me not to do that. And I did like join that circle, and then a lot of weird things were happening around that. And the point is, it took me a while to really let this go. So I did, and then something that really, like I stepped down from the worship team, and something that really changed my mind about what God was telling me sounds so lame, but there's this phone app that you can play karaoke on.
Okay. Yeah.
And I have a friend from my childhood. We grew up in Nashville together, and he also happened to live in San Antonio. And he's like, "Hey, have you ever been on this app? It's called Smule."
Yeah,
it's the worst name. Have you heard of it?
I'm addicted to karaoke, so
okay.
My friends hate me for it. Okay. Like,
no, it's so much fun. I had no idea. Like I hadn't ever really explored it too much because I think anyone who works in the church knows that that's all. When you do that, that's all you do.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's really my fault because I don't work on balance. But all right, so I got into this karaoke app.
Totally. I definitely I volunteered a lot in the church when I'm divorced and when I was married. So, but it does take a lot of time, but I was happy to do it, but it is time consuming.
Yeah, so. It is. And if you're not careful, it can really, anyway,
there's always a need
too much
for sure.
Yes, there's always a need, and you can't run yourself ragged. Take a break. Yeah. But I'm a workaholic, so it's a problem. Anyway, so I joined this app, and like people are singing in their closets. Like they're singing in private. You don't have to show your face necessarily, but you can join someone's duet. And I've had, so I was like, oh, this is so much fun. And it felt really silly at first, but then I was like, this is therapy. This is amazing. So I really fell in love with that. There's a whole inner world in Smule. There's lots of drama, of course, but like, there's stuff like group songs and competitions, and I got into it. It was so much fun. And also super crazy frustrating because it's just a phone app too. Like there's not high quality, high fidelity.
They actually kind of challenge you with it. It's not just karaoke in the sense that you can, like I downloaded it for a little bit, and I was like, because I'm pitchy. I also, but I when you said 4 chord, I was like, I don't know what that means.
right.
But
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm a good mimicker.
Me too.
So I can mimic really, really well. So nice. I use my ear, but doesn't mean that I can catch on that quick.
Right.
And I don't read music. So
sure. But like the bars that you follow and the way you can score points is really, really super
exactly.
fun.
Yeah. So for me, I was just like, I could tell I was going to spend a lot of time on it because I would want to get it right, and I deleted it. So I was like, I can't do this.
I know, it's so like you kind of do have to put it away, and especially if you get involved in all the groups and like competitions and stuff. So it was, my hubby was like very patient during that time. But then right in the middle of like super getting into that, this streaming service, which is called twitch.tv. Almost everyone over there plays video games on Twitch. But there's a lot of, I didn't know this until I got into it, but there's a lot of other categories. There's like the just chatting, where you're just having, a drink and your friends are watching and you're talking about whatever you want. Like it could be the politics, or you're reviewing a movie or something. There's arts and crafts. When I logged in once, I saw a woman painting blocks badly.
Oh, cool. I had no idea.
Yeah, there's cooking, and people can donate. They can give you, there's just like a really simple but a rewarding method of like donating to your favorite streamer. Imagine Twitch is like if you were just to create your own TV channel and you turn on your camera and it's you. You can sleep there. You can just turn on your camera and sleep.
I've seen this. I've seen this.
It's great. It's great. Yeah. And video games pull the most because I've discovered this from doing music there. Video games is the thing you can go back to over and over again. Almost everyone is going to get into a new game, an old game that they loved and have nostalgia for. Music is a little different. That's very genre specific. If they don't like your voice, for example, they're not going to stay, and they're not going to come back. If your song, you can only learn so many songs and offer them. I have a friend that knows like 300, 600 songs. It's crazy.
Oh, wow.
And so you can pick from the list.
Yeah.
But if you get tired of them at any point, and people come and go out of the community, So it's an interesting dynamic, but the point is this TV, what am I saying? This website, twitch.tv, created a karaoke game. And they don't create games. They're a platform to stream games or whatever you want to stream. So they actually made one, and it was for karaoke, and I was like, oh, I've got to try this. This is probably awful compared to Smule, right? And it was at first, but they just kept improving it. And so I started becoming a streamer. And the thing that was so enticing about it is that you could have your high quality camera. It's not your phone camera, although some phones are brilliant nowadays. You can have your high quality microphone and instruments and graphics, and you could really make it as big as you wanted it to be and complicated as you wanted it to be. And that was really amazing. And then they started this competition on Twitch, just like American Idol, if you will, where you enter and then you make it to the finals, and then the top 6 get flown out to the TwitchCon, which is a convention that they do.
That would be a blast. That sounds like so much fun.
It was cool. I didn't expect. I wasn't expecting a competition. I just wanted to. I don't know. I wanted to get back into music. I was so lost without that side of myself, and I realized God didn't ask me to stop singing. He made me a singer. Why would he do that? I think I just was in such a dark place. Like I told you, I'd never made it past the first round on American Idol or any of those things. So clearly my understanding was God shut that door and he wanted me to do the church. And then he shut the church door, and now both doors are shut. What the heck? Yeah. So I feel like he reopened that other one, and he said, actually, this is where I want you. So I don't know. I'm having fun. I'm building a lot of friendships and collaborations, and it's been nuts. I can't believe my life. I'm like so grateful.
Streamer, first of all, like that is so cool. And like you're on Twitch. Like when I heard you were on Twitch too, I was just like, I love the different avenues that people are taking.
COVID really made it necessary.
Yes, everybody I've talked to, it's been that way. And it's just been people forging their paths, and it takes choice.
Yeah.
It takes, and what you were saying when you were speaking, it just really seems to me like, at that time you thought it was one thing, you thought a door was closing at one time, but isn't it interesting when we go back to our original self and our original dream, how with God and in our own separate kind of cocoon way, in our own path, maybe others think we're lost or whatever, but we're there,
You're being true to yourself and authentic.
Yeah. And then you start to get to reimagine life. and
Yes.
create choices again, or not create, but make choices to create the life that you want. And
Yeah.
I think the deeper inward you go and are able to kind of sit still and quiet with yourself, you're able to kind of feel that home and that safety within, you
Yeah.
know, and tap into
Exactly.
what you want, you
Exactly.
know.
It's been weird figuring out who I am not when I'm not a worship leader. Because of the internet, I'm sure, like in social media, what we've learned to do, I think, by and large, is to decorate a profile of who we should be.
Mhm.
And being really truthful and authentic with this, like, sin that we struggle with, for example. This is a big topic, obviously, in church. But like, I think that's a huge problem. We're just distancing ourselves from anyone who may be curious about the church but is put off by the perfectionism that we expect of you if you are a member, and perfect repentance, you know, and if your sin is particularly flashy or something like that, like, just go to one that you can hide like
Mhm.
better. And I discovered a lot about myself that I had kind of, maybe when I got up on that stage and was a worship leader, I had done it just for me. And it didn't have much to do with my relationship with the Lord. It had more to do
Mhm.
with what I wanted. And now I volunteer and lead worship at my church here in town, like once every 3 or 4 months. But now it's really strange. I had a really hard time getting back up there because in the quote secular world,
Mhm.
I can just be myself and no one is gonna kick me out.
Yeah,
It's
it's
such a weird
interesting.
place to be in, like, because I was in a position of leadership. But it's true
Mhm.
of just members that attend too in some churches, like where you don't
Mhm.
have real solid, safe relationships that you feel
Yeah,
comfortable sinning under or just
yeah.
like being your human
Or
self
being
with.
your human self, and
Yes.
you know, yeah, I agree, and I think that, isn't it interesting? I think that was, for me personally,
Yeah.
I had to really quit hiding from myself. It was
Yeah,
becoming
dude.
detrimental, like it just really, especially after my divorce,
Mhm.
because you know, I was like, well, I did A plus B, where the hell is D?
Right.
Like, yeah, you know, I mean, where the hell is,
See.
you know, A plus B? I can't speak. My
Right.
brain is like fried. I'm so sorry.
Ah,
I
you're
did
fine.
A plus B. Where is C? Where is my
Right.
C? Like, you
Right.
know, where's, you know, it's
I
not,
did everything I was supposed to, and we're
yeah,
still
you
here. Yeah.
know, or,
Mhm.
you know, me, I definitely didn't take a traditional path there either. But, you know, once I became a mother, once I had my daughter, I really was trying to be this idea of a woman that I
Mhm.
didn't even recognize myself to be. So I was really trying to just be that. And
That's so hard.
um God, you know, it was God. It was just like,
Yeah.
I got to a point where, yeah, I had to quit hiding from myself, thus quit hiding from God, and
Right. Right.
really realize who he created me to be,
Yeah.
and that I've always been this person. I've
Right.
always been me. And I've never felt, I guess, I don't know if you can relate to this personally, but I've never had, I've never really felt rejection from God in a strange way.
Me either.
I
Yeah.
confused it sometimes with people,
It's the
because I
people.
felt really rejected from the people that I
Yeah.
knew, you know,
Right.
personally. And
Right.
and but through that, I am so grateful, and I really wouldn't change it, because I have some amazing lifelong friendships that I didn't get from my school, because I was always stuck in, like,
Yeah.
similar to what you said, I was kind of stuck of like, who am I?
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, am I this or that? Am I the secular, am I my school, who I am
Mhm.
at school, or
Mhm.
am I who I am at church? You know,
Right.
like,
Right.
So I always
There needs to
really
be a better
struggle with
balance
that.
there.
There
And
does.
I don't know how to do it. I'm just trying it myself. Like my pastor at the moment, he's his one of his main things to me right now is you are not two different people. You are the same person no matter what building you're standing in.
Mhm.
And don't, it's like we put on this outfit, like I'm going to go be my church
Mhm.
self. I'm going to go be my normal self. There's a strange separation of, body and like church and body there, if you will. And I just, I'm tired. And I think all of us are tired. You know
Mhm.
what? Salvation is a gift. There's no conditions on it. And I don't understand why we're so afraid all the time. And it is, I think you're right. It's the people.
Mhm.
It's letting people down.
Yeah.
Expectations that have just surfaced or become prominent in the Christian culture, or just I think I'm sure this is true of any religious culture over time,
Yeah.
that maybe doesn't really have much to do with the love of God.
Yeah.
So it's like you were saying, I didn't personally ever feel rejected. God created me the way that I
No,
am.
I always, that was what was
So,
very confusing for me,
yeah,
is because inwardly I would feel one way. And then,
yeah.
but I can also recognize that I probably have projected a lot of my own hurt on other people as well
Same,
during that
right?
time. So, like,
Same.
there's that.
Yeah.
And we might have to do a whole other episode about this topic.
I would love to. I would love to. It's really like something I'm still wrapping my mind around, and I'm still walking it out. That's another thing that's a big
Mhm.
problem I find in like modern Christian culture is we all want to be past the journey. We all want to have done it and written a book about the 7-step process of how we got past this problem. And how do we love people in the middle? Even
Mhm.
like even if we can never see the end, like
Mhm.
is that okay? Like I
Yeah.
just want to be me. Like I have a song that I'm gonna release soon where I say the word ass in it. I feel like I'm sorry. It's the phrase is kick some ass, and I'm like, okay, but I really felt like it needed it in that moment. I write
Yeah.
songs that deal with sexual contexts, that deal with love triangles.
Mhm.
Um, these are things that are real, that we all have, that we all go through, even if you don't want to admit it because you might get kicked out of your church. Like, I'm
This
sorry.
is what I love about people who sing and people who do comedy, because it's like I have that same fear of like, well, now I'm putting this on the internet.
Yeah,
So
right. So there it is. It's out there.
there it is. Anybody can see that I
Yeah.
made my first set I did. It was right before Easter, actually. Coming around the corner here. Um and
That
anyways, yeah,
holy day.
yeah,
Yes,
no,
that holy day.
I just said, you know, does anybody know the only man who came on time? And I said, Jesus. And that's how I ended my set.
That is so
My set.
fantastic.
I was like, and good night.
And good night. Yeah.
But it's true. So good night.
That's fantastic. 3 days, off we go. No, yeah. But I
But
feel like that's part of like just owning and being okay with yourself, loving yourself. No more of this like just getting
yeah.
down. I feel like it's destroying our children's ability to
Mhm.
develop self-esteem.
Yes.
The
And
guilt that
love
you
for
walk,
themselves and
love for
others.
themselves. Yes. You know, it says love your neighbor as you love yourself. So really,
Yeah.
first, it's you. You come
Mhm.
first. Otherwise, you have no way to measure how to
Yeah.
treat someone else if you don't know what you need and what
Yeah.
you want and don't know how to voice it. And so I just feel like this constant self sacrifice without any regard for what you need is a huge mistake. And it doesn't prepare you for solid, I think, sexual relationships later, like,
Yeah.
romantic relationships or friendships. And it's just a really weird. Oh, I don't know. I don't have any solutions, guys. I'm just saying.
No, me either, because I am not that. All I can do is have these conversations and have
Yeah.
conversations with people. And like,
Yeah.
I do also believe that like you said, teaching my children, because,
Yes.
and then also still practicing what my values when I'm
Yeah.
out and interacting with people.
Yeah.
That's because I don't attend church weekly anymore. That's been a weird thing for my kids too, especially because
Yeah.
they grew up like we would go every Sunday. I was like on nursery and choir,
Relatable.
couples, like, all
Yeah.
things, and not all the time either. But I was really happy to do it. But so that was just the life that they were used to.
Very
And
immersed. Yeah.
yes. And now I will say, I think they're a lot more used to the shift we've made. And I have this app called Parent Q that I use, and it's a Christian based app.
Okay.
And they give you like PDF weekly Bible studies, which I actually don't do.
That sounds cool though. Yeah.
But what I do is they have quotes and questions to ask your kids.
Oh
And
yeah.
so I'll put a scripture up on my calendar board or a quote, and I'll try to ask them those questions. And now my son's like, what's the question of the week?
Oh, I love
So
that. That's
it
great.
helps me interact with them. And then it reminds me and them of the values that like we want to put within ourselves first.
Yes.
And then share with others,
Yeah. Gently guide. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your kids. I like that. You're gonna have to send me all your apps, whatever your meditation app
Yeah.
is. And then
They're free too.
Yeah.
They're
What? That's awesome. My kiddo, yeah, she's real. We don't go every week either, and she's really curious and super interested. And I love apologetics, and like I get super into that stuff.
Same.
It's so fascinating and neat to learn, and I wanted to get a degree and go online. And I don't know what I was gonna do, but just know, knowledge is power. And so we'll get into those deep discussions sometimes, and but like that. But yeah, the culture that I grew, it's very different. I was just talking to a friend of mine who also grew up in church, and she's having another baby soon. And she's like, this is so weird because we stopped going, and I don't know what, what it's going to be like. And I'm just like, I don't know. Like the world is shifting, and we're all waking up a little bit and kind of taking ownership of something that I think was, again, we were very immersed in when we were little.
Yeah.
But knowing who you are, and that it doesn't have to do with necessarily a building, but you were created in his image, you were given certain gifts, and he loves you. And now how can you live out and walk your life out with the values that you hold, and just be a beautiful light in the darkness? Because this world is gross.
Yes.
And, but how can you remain authentic with your struggle? Pete, that's important. It's important for people to hear the struggle.
Yes.
I'm a part of that group of people that like really love sad songs. It's really therapeutic.
I do too. I have a whole playlist. It's called Alt Like Me, and it's just all sad girl songs.
Yeah, love. So that is just something that I think our soul needs. And maybe it's just for this season of humanity. I don't know, but be real to that, be authentic to that, and try not to lose yourself attempting to be something, living up to human like standards. Because
yes, amen to that for sure. And I really like what you said earlier, that your pastor said that you are who you are no matter what building you're in. What is that word? Compartmentalized my personality sometimes, like. And it's so dumb. That's my counselor is actually, I go to therapy, and I've been doing that for about 2 years now. And it started off weekly, and now I'm like every 2 weeks and sometimes every 3 weeks. So
yeah, that's great.
But he really helped me through that transition because I felt lost. I felt not lost. I grieved a lot. It was a big grieving thing for me because I grieved the community,
of course,
aspect of it a lot, and I still grieve that. And now when I grieve it, I just say, oh God, like, how I'm feeling, like, and I feel this way. But I've been able to I've been given the gift of community in ways I never would have imagined.
Isn't it weird? Me too. Yeah. And it's like, oh, right. Of course there's life outside, like right? Yeah. It's been great. Yeah, I agree. I'm in the same place. That's cool.
Yeah. I actually don't even know what time we're at, so I'm going to check.
I don't either. I'm just having a good time.
I know, exactly.
I don't actually
Okay,
have like
we're
a
good.
time limit or anything. Okay.
Should we take like a little, are you ready to
Yes.
Okay, so should we
I'm
take
trying to decide what I want to show you. I can, oh gosh. You know what? We'll just wake everybody up. I'm going to sing this one. I don't know why it's phased that way. Are you going to work? Or is this crazy? I just released this song. It's really pretty, in my opinion. You guys can judge for yourself. But it's called All I Dream Of. I'm a big fan of pop music. I adore it. With this particular number, if you do come and see me in person live, though, it's going to sound more folksy or acoustic. But anyway, this one's, just imagine your favorite rom-com in the background. That's what this song is. Now I will turn on my effects, and that'll be fun. Up till 3 a.m. on the phone, telling all our secrets. There I go again, now you know every little weakness. Yeah. It's probably nothing. I know I tend to get ahead of myself, but I'm cautiously loving, getting caught in the spell of falling in love. So love, you could be everything I've waited for and all I dream of. Am I what you want? Or what you want? Or am I the fool that I've been taken for and can't escape from? I know I'll fall one way or the other, and I hope it's not a part. I'm just gonna mess up all my effects while I'm doing this. Up at 8 a.m. in your arms, staring at the ceiling, trying to ignore the alarms, waking up my feelings. Yeah, but there's no way around it. We're at the edge and I'm protecting my heart. If you throw me off balance, I don't know if I can stop from falling in love. So love, you could be everything I've waited for and all I dream of. Am I what you want? Or what you want? Or am I the fool that I've been taken for and can't escape from? I know I'll fall one way or the other, yeah. And I hope that you're next to me. Deep breath, head over heels, right off the edge. Take my hand, never let me go. Are we falling in love? So in love, you could be everything I've waited for and all I dream of. Am I what you want? Or what you want? Or am I the fool that I've been taken for and can't escape from? I know I'll fall one way or the other. I got these weird ones that like.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. I know it's a
No,
podcast.
that's fine. I'm sure people are gonna love me clapping.
Like in the background. Yeah. I appreciate you. Thank you. It's super weird performing like on a stream because you don't have anyone like watching you. So I come from the worship leader world, right? So there's always that immediate feedback. You've got folks like singing back at you.
Engaging.
And then I had the worst, most intense anxiety going live on Twitch. Like Smule is pre-recorded. I can sit there and make it perfect. Like before I hit go, like before I hit send. But on Twitch, no, it's like all your mistakes are right there available to everyone. And I can't see them. I can't feel the energy in the room. And I don't know I don't know how to do what.
Guess
it's really
what?
strange. So yeah, and
Yeah.
but so instead of like voices or audible claps, they put little emotes in the chat or like words of encouragement and praise. And I really had it
Oh,
took me a
good.
long time to translate that into room energy
Yeah.
in my head. And now it's the opposite. When I go out in public, like when I was singing at PH Coffee for you, it's like, oh, that's not a worship song. I don't know what to do.
Well, I've heard you twice now, and guess what? No mistakes heard. Like
Well, thank you.
I'm just like, God, I'm just like trying not to cry. I'm trying.
Thank you.
Like,
Let's. I appreciate that. Let's keep it that way. I'm just kidding. That's very nice of you. It's really tough and weird. Like, but I hope
relate
I'm
to
getting
the
better at it.
anxiety part. That's how I feel every time. Like I get really nervous doing this, but I don't know. I like talking to people, so
Yeah.
it's not as. I'm just nervous because I'm. Usually the conversation always flows, but I'm always worried it won't.
Right.
You know?
There's always that possibility that you're going to sit down with someone who.
I'm worried it just won't happen.
Right. I know. Right. And then you have to carry it yourself.
Yeah, but I mean, but going on stage is so, and share, like I've never shared a song besides karaoke, and even that, if I go to a new karaoke bar that I've never been to, I'm like, this the first time. It takes me like 4 or 5 times going to that same karaoke venue to get comfortable.
Same, yeah.
So it's I think that's it's supposed to be nerve-wracking, maybe.
Yes, universal feeling, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's weird, like like in the coffee shop. So I've been playing these little gigs for those Made in KC stores. Have you ever? Yeah, I'm sure you've seen those around town.
Yeah,
they're really cute, and I've played the one in Lenexa several times, and or just twice really, and then once in Lee Summit, the Lee Summit. Summit Fair area, like Made in KC store.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things like I write these sad songs. Like that was cool, right? I don't sing to tracks. I think that's weird. And so I would rather have like a guitarist there with me. So I play them all myself. So the ones that work really well acoustic are like super depressing. I'm like, hello, Made in KC, while you're shopping for your locally sourced candles and t-shirts, please step into my soul and cry with me. Like it doesn't make sense sometimes. Coffee shops are much better, like the kind of thing you get.
Help you reminisce on your last love that may not have worked out.
Exactly. And I know everyone said this 100 times, but here's the way I say it in this song, and I hope you like it. Like I'm just gonna cut my heart open and lay it on the table.
And lay it out. I like it. I like the way you lay it out.
Well, I appreciate
on the table. It's moving and it's beautiful. I love the way you write.
Thank you so much.
I went on a little Spotify deep dive. And
there's a lot of that's another weird thing. Like, because so the way I can afford these big fancy full production songs like is because my stream is my label. I'm not signed. Okay. And so people come in, you put up a little donation goal and you tell them what you're working on. Like, hey, I've played this for you acoustic a couple of times. Do you guys believe in it enough? Do you want to invest? And I will get a producer, I will get mix engineer, mastering and photography and all the stuff. And at the end of the day, that comes out to about anymore. Like if I were to make a new one today, it would be around $3,000 to make that. It's a pretty penny. Yeah. And so that whole album that I put out on September 1st, it's called the whole album's called Heartbreaker. Just imagine every track, like I had to one at a time raise money for those things, but my community showed up, my fans showed up, and that's how I was able to afford those. But again, it's one of those things like I did this during the pandemic and like making this music and raising the money for all of this. And now I have to go out and like, usually an artist drops an album and they go tour their project. And I'm like, well, I don't exactly have any money to pay a band to come with me.
So I just made this thing.
Yes. And I don't, money. that costs so much money, right? And I don't know how to go around Kansas City and like, what do I do? Strut down the street like with this big fully produced sound. So I'm going around just doing acoustic stuff and gaining new listeners with this acoustic stuff, and they come to Spotify and they're like, you only have like 2 acoustic songs, 2 or 3 acoustic songs. I'm like, right, sorry.
I was like
I'm working
super
on that.
stoked about that, actually.
Oh, okay.
Like, oh my gosh. I mean, I would have been happy if it was all sad. I would have just been like, either way, I have a playlist for it. Let me just tell you, like, there's a playlist for everything on my Spotify. Like, I've created so many. So, but I was like, oh, this is it was unexpected, yes, but I didn't find it like, oh my gosh,
alarming.
That's
well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Everybody has their preference. That's why there's so much of everything. So.
Yes, and that's also why it's so difficult to become some big, huge superstar, because you don't have one place telling you what to listen to, like a radio station anymore. We're all responsible for our own vices, and so it's great. But it's also, and I love that. I would much prefer that we all just have more opportunities. But it does make it weird. Like, I can make this huge, but should I? Because I can't tour it later.
Yeah.
So it really, what it came down to was, what do you guys want from me? That my audience is all over the world. I've got people. That's what's so nice about having an internet following. And so they can't have me in person, so they can have. So that's kind of what it came down to. Is I'll do a few of these acoustic, and then we'll have these big, fully produced ones, because that's basically what you're going to get unless I become able to tour your country.
Yeah.
So they help me decide what to do there.
So on that note, where can people find you and pay you?
Oh, thanks. So if you'd like, my you can go to my website. So it's Joliet4.com. That's probably the easiest place to find all the things you need. You'll see all the places where you can hear my music, streaming it. I'm particularly proud to be on Pandora, which is almost an audition process. You have to submit, and someone literally, it's not like Spotify where anyone can upload whatever they want through a distributor. Pandora, they have to, like, a real person actually listens to it and decides if it's good enough to go in their algorithm, which I was like really honored by. But you can see all the places to stream from there. I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, Deezer now, I think, is a big thing. And Pandora. And then if you'd like to donate, you can find me on Venmo, just at Joliet4, or PayPal is the same, just Joliet4. I have like a link tree as well. Like if you're on Instagram, and it's the number 4, Joliet, and then the number 4. I'm on Instagram, and so you can like click the link in my bio, and that'll take you there. I've got this really cool thing right now. There's a new like website. It's called Gift App. Okay. And it's like your Amazon wish list, where you can go and curate, like you can go and make a list of things that you need. But it's not like Amazon in that there's like a store like Amazon. So I decided I really like my Amazon wish list, and that's going to be important for people with Amazon Prime if they want to use that. Instead, I'm going to use this weird gift app website to raise money for marketing.
Yes.
So it's kind of weird. Like if you Google gift app and Joliet4, you can find it, but it's like, you can pay $10, and I will put one of my reels from Instagram, I will boost it for 7 days, and then I'll gain new listeners through that, or through TikTok, or through YouTube. I think there's choices for all of those. But it's a really strange world out here where if you're independent, how do you market yourself? How do you? Yeah. And I totally and completely depend on listeners, friends, and fans to kind of steamroll that for me.
Yeah.
So
anyway, I appreciate the long game, because I procrastinate. So I've accepted the long. I'm like everybody who's successful, well, especially, I mean, the improv and like stuff like this is
Yeah.
really, if I procrastinate this, it's on me. But
Right.
like for comedy and stuff like that, like everything I hear is like, and I don't really want to make it big, or I just want to do it and get good at it. You know, like
Yeah, totally.
That's what I really enjoy, and I just want to get good at it because I, you know, but and just kind of practice writing and in that way. But everybody's like, it takes years to find your voice. That's what I want to find my voice. So
it does take years.
So
and it doesn't
like,
stop.
for like 20 years, whatever, you know, it can take a long time. So I'm like, oh, at first I was like, oh man. But then after I started thinking, I'm like, you know what, that suits my personality. So like,
yeah. You kind of learn, and and you need that time too. I feel horrible for the girls who were like, I don't know, they were thrown into the LA scene, and they are groomed from the day they turned 13 or whatever, and it just makes you wonder. It makes I don't know what their experience is truly, but I do feel grateful to have the ability to fail over and over again without anyone watching.
Oh, same.
And really find my own voice and discover who I am and who I want to be, and not necessarily like I was doing in the church world, following a template that is expected of me as a leader in the church.
Yeah.
So if that's what it's like also being groomed in LA, well, and maybe it's not the same for everybody, but that's what I imagine. So I'm grateful for this long game, as you say.
Yeah. I'm grateful for talking to you tonight.
Well, thanks for having me.
It's been like so much fun, and I really enjoyed hearing you sing. It's so different when you, even though it's, you know, through the phone. I use a specific type of phone for I actually got my phone. Yeah.
Cool.
For that, I was like, does it have a good enough camera that it's going to be clear?
Yeah.
And I can do all the things. So I got that
great
kind of phone. So I don't have to worry about a lot of fuss right now. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, you sounded amazing, and the music, the track sounded really good. So
Thanks so
yeah,
much.
it was a joy to hear that, and just to hear your story and to hear about you. And honestly, I think we got to have another conversation down the road.
I would love to. I can go down the rabbit hole. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and you said you have a show in Austin. So whatever shows you have.
Right. So if any of you guys are in Austin for South by Southwest, it's probably, if you are, you're probably like annoyed by the South by Southwest, but I am playing at a place called Key Bar on 6th Street. And that is on Wednesday, the 15th from 6 to 9. I'm going down there with a partner of mine. We co-write. And we're going to test out some cute little songs. The vibe is folk. The vibe is maybe folk country, folk pop. So think the Civil Wars if they did pop music too.
I love the Civil War. Okay.
Obsessed, right. Yeah. So I'm still grieving. I can't get over them.
I know.
Anyway, so that's we're going down there. We're going to test out some songs on folks, and we are both solo artists as well. So that whole 3 hours will be filled with like solo stuff and then our duet stuff. And then we're also doing a showcase at The Hive, which is a coffee shop on, I don't remember the name of the road, but if you look it up, The Hive Austin, you'll see it. And that is, we're going to start probably around 6 o'clock, 6:15 for that showcase. That's along with many other artists. And it's another deal where I will do solo stuff. I'll pull him up, we'll do our duets, and then he'll do some solo stuff. So, and if you're interested in the streams, just follow me on Instagram, watch my stories. We're probably going to like stream from the car. Nice. I asked him, I said, it's a 12-hour, sorry, I just randomly hit my piano. It's a 12-hour drive from Kansas City to Austin. And I'm like, do you know how to play the ukulele? And he's like, well, I'm like, well, there's 12 hours to learn. So we're probably going to turn our cameras on and sing in the car, and it's going to be fun and silly.
Yes, I love that.
So just turn on your notifications if you want to see any IRL nonsense. So that's going to be fun. So those are my next big things around it down in Austin. I do not have anything scheduled here in Kansas City yet, but I do regularly play those Made in KC stores. And obviously I will certainly blast it out online.
Sweet. I love that. Okay. And then our show's also listed on your website.
Yes. So if there's a place for live shows. Yeah. So you can come and see where those are. And you can click into those and they have full addresses and stuff too. I'm like trying to spitball off the top of my head. I don't know where this is.
You're fine.
I'm probably going to get to Austin and get lost. So that's how it's going to be.
It's pretty weird there, so.
You stay weird.
I loved it when I was in Austin. It was a blast. So yeah, it's a great city. So I hope you have a great time, and I'm sure you're gonna kill it. So
I appreciate that. I look forward to attempting that.
Yeah.
Well, more practice. That's all this is. Every day is more practice. So, but thank you for having me. I'm honored, and I'm so happy to know you. So
same. Thank you so much, Juliet.
You're welcome.
Good night.
Good night. I'm gonna go watch a show with hubby.
Yes, I'm gonna go eat with partner.
There you go. Excellent.